The Great Way is low and plain, but people like shortcuts over the mountains.
So it doesn't really seem like much of a shortcut, does it? What's up? Welcome back to our channel, Jammin on the Tao, where we talk about all things Taoist in nature. And today we're going to be reading number 53 from the Tao Te Ching. I am Mark, and I am here today with,
Adam.
and Adam is going to do a reading for us. Go
Yes,
for it.
this is from the Ursula Le Guin translation. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. If my mind's modest, I walk the great way. Arrogance is all I fear. The great way is low and plain, but people like shortcuts over the mountains. The palace is full of splendor, and the fields are full of weeds, and the granaries are full of nothing. People wearing ornaments and fancy clothes, carrying weapons, drinking a lot, eating a lot, having a lot of things, a lot of money, shameless thieves. Surely their way isn't the way.
Shameless thieves.
Yeah,
Wow. So this one feels like it's hitting it pretty hard into the world of excess,
it is.
right?
The
And we
the
see this come around a lot in these passages about excess and extremes and to avoid those such things.
mm-hmm.
But look at the world around us. Look at the world that we live in today. It
Mm-hmm.
is full of extremes. Most people are living in
Mm-hmm.
some sort of extreme, whether they realize it or not. There is so
Mm-hmm.
much that is out of balance, out of harmony. And whether it's a vanity thing or a greed thing or what, it's a lot of this possession, materialistic
Mm-hmm.
thinking that keeps people stuck in this stuff that doesn't really matter, right? People think it
Mm-hmm.
matters, but it doesn't really matter. But what does matter? That's what this is getting to here. So
Mm-hmm.
it is not the way of the Tao. And I like that
Mm-hmm.
opening passage talking about the path. What was that?
The great way is low and plain, but people like shortcuts over the mountains.
People like shortcuts over the mountains. So that would be like the hard way, right? Going over the mountains is the hard way. You think it's a shortcut because I don't know, it's a challenge or it's something different, but it's definitely a difficult path. Whereas you can just go the easy path through the plain. But maybe the easy path isn't for everybody. Maybe people like the challenge, invite challenge and a different way. It makes me think of the pioneers of the early pioneers of America, where I go hiking in the mountains all the time, and I look up at this mountain, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a huge mountain I got to climb. But I'm here with my hiking gear, and I got water with me, and I'm prepared. But imagine these pioneers crossing the country, and they hit a mountain or a river, this thing, seemingly impassable thing, yet they figure it out anyway.
Mm.
Whereas some are like, I'm staying here. I'm chilling on
Mm-hmm.
this side of the mountains, or I'm rooting down, I'm settling over here.
Mm-hmm.
You all can go. So there's a perspective here of
Mm-hmm.
some people actually invite the extremes where some people don't. So I don't know, it kind of brings into question what is balance? What is harmony? We all see it differently.
We do, and I feel like I love this part where it says the palace is full of splendor, but the fields are full of weeds and the granaries are full of nothing. Where it's like to me, it kind of reminds me of even like I mean, it's easy to like kind of like take this one and attack the elite. Like you're all are hoarding all your resources, and like that's certainly true. We
Sure.
live in a pretty unbalanced economy and world, but it's also like think about it like on a more personal level, right? Where it's like we kind of retreat into our homes and make them these places, these palaces of comfort.
Sanctuary.
Yeah, where we have all the things that we want and we can have the great ego that we want to have. Like, look at me and I have what I need. But out there, the field is empty. Like the field's completely untended, right? And there's no food, right? There's nothing in the granaries. So it's like we're not really nourishing ourselves. There's no nourishment happening. Instead, it's adornment. It's like these things that make us feel safe. We're carrying a weapon on our thing and drinking a lot because we want to be happy all the time. And it's like, but that's not really living. Um, and
No.
I kind of like the way that this is phrased because it kind of to me even feels like it makes sense in our era today where people are not really in the real field of like nature and people, but they're in a virtual field, right? In their own minds or in like on social media or whatever it is. Like whether it's they're not really present with what is. And I feel like this is saying like that is surely not the way,
Mm-mm.
right? Because like shameless thieves, like yeah, we can think of the elites as shameless thieves, and like that definitely lines up with my perspective. But like we're also kind of like stealing from ourselves when we just consume mindlessly, also.
Yeah, it's not even about just the elites. I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's for
all
everybody.
live, the middle class, even lower class to some degree, lives in this viewpoint of scarcity, right? Where
Hmm.
we need to consume things constantly because there's not enough of it. And that brings into question like preferences. We all have preferences, this or that, theirs or mine. And that is still a very dualistic point of view.
Hmm.
Whereas, like you said, the outside field is definitely it's more rife with opportunity, that kind of untapped potential of there's so much out there that we can grasp. It is abundant, but we
Hmm.
retreat inwards, not into the soul, into the
Hmm.
domain, the domicile of our homes. Look at suburbs and communities where people don't even interact with each other most of the time. They don't even know their
Hmm.
neighbors, or cities where you're literally sharing walls with people that you don't know because
Hmm.
there's not this interaction going on. There's this isolation happening. And that is definitely a world of excess. So, elite or not, we're living in this world of complacency and excess at the same time.
Hmm.
It's consumerism, this materialism, and this isolation. And it is not bringing the field of consciousness together in a fluid,
Hmm.
connected way.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, it's way out of balance. Way out of balance. People aren't tending things that are theirs to tend. And that happens at all levels. At all levels. And I think this is kind of poking at those with the most because they have the most power to rebalance, right?
Yeah,
But anyone, this is for everybody, I think.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, think of like a community garden. This is one of the most
Hmm.
beautiful concepts, right? Where you're
Absolutely.
you're you're having a bunch of people coming together, whether they know each other or not. I guess you end up knowing each other because
Yep.
you're getting your hands into the soil, you're tending this garden, you're cultivating life, and you're doing it together for the idea of shared resources.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, like that's not to like since this is a political thing, but I feel like that's in part of like this trend towards globalism. Kind of in some ways, like it feels like a lot of people are kind of retreating back, not retreating back from global consciousness, but retreating back from global systems of production to more local systems of production and sharing resources and creating together because that's it's much easier to be in balance when you're spread across. It doesn't things break down, right? People lose
Yeah.
sight of like the actual field around them, their
Yeah.
local community.
Yeah, right. This is all this talk
Mhm.
about sustainability, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
global sustainability. And while good in nature, like you said, there's a breaking point of it getting
yeah,
too wide. Whereas there definitely is a movement happening for the local level,
yeah.
the group, the small group community,
Hmm.
more kind of active nature versus this big, wide open global community. It just doesn't work. But we have things like the virtual world
Hmm.
and video conferencing like we're doing right here right now that can bridge those wider gaps, which is amazing. But at the same time, we do have to get in touch with ourselves, our really immediate area, the people that are right across the street or down a block.
Hmm.
That way we can really cultivate this world and this earth a lot better.
Absolutely. And I think platforms like this, like I think it's beautiful to be able to share all the wisdom because every culture, every land has so much wisdom and these specialist kind of frequencies that they carry. And so it's beautiful to be able to share those. But I feel like what gets missing sometimes is like, okay, but now we take those learnings and that wisdom and we embody them in our communities, right? We actually live these new ideas or these values or these wisdom codes that we're receiving and sharing with each other. And that's the part that I struggle with too. Like I'm saying this, and I'm just as much of one of these shameless thieves sometimes, where I'm stealing wisdom, but I ain't doing nothing with it. in my local community, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's not the way of the Tao.
No, it's not. And it even says, the great way is easy, but we make it hard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that whole the plane is open, but people choose to go up the mountains, right? People choose their side paths. We make things way more difficult than they need to be.
Oh, because we want to be somebody.
You gotta be somebody, baby.
Yeah.
But we can be somebody by not making things so damn difficult all the time. Because what is that? At the end of the day, that is energy consumption.
Hmm.
Making things harder than they need to
Hmm.
be is consuming. And that goes into the whole consumerism point of view. We're consuming much more than we are giving. And yes, it's a give and take, it's push and pull, but it's certainly out of balance and in the world of
Hmm.
the excessive. And there is that attainment, there's that people idolize those of the rich and famous and
Yeah.
want to be that because there is this
Hmm.
allure that has been they've been lofted up, put on these
Hmm.
pedestals and idolized. And there is this allure that people cling to want that and to want to be that and to do whatever it takes sometimes, however vile, to
Mm.
achieve that. And that's what needs to change.
Mm.
And that's it, recognizing where does it say that? Be aware of when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
awareness, recognition is always the first step.
Hmm.
Taking those blinders off, lifting that veil off, and
Hmm.
seeing the true nature of things. Only then can we rebalance things, but have to have that awareness first.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. Well, you have anything else to add, my friend?
No, no, I think that about says it, and I feel like yeah, no, I think this was a really convicting message, so thank you.
Cool. Well, we'd love to hear what you all have to say too in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. And until next time, have a beautiful day.